Hey, y'all. Welcome back to yet another episode of SpillitWithMeesh. I'm your host, Meesh Westcoat, and we are back and we are diving into another portion of my purge, my cleanse. We've talked about the body, we've talked about the mind, we've talked about the discipline, we've talked about prioritizing what it looks like to discipline yourself and get your mind sharp. We've talked about reading, and whatever else gets you to feeling like you're back to you, your mind is back to you. So let me just say thank you again for being here and just listening to me as I talk about my purge and just letting me have this transparency for you guys, because even though you guys may not be ready to go through it right now, there's no telling who this will touch, who this will affect, and who probably wants to go through the same changes that I'm going through right now. And again, we're not waiting to the beginning of the year to do them. Don't cheat yourself. So this journey, again, has not been for the weak. If you've watched the previous episodes, then I've referenced how hard it's been. Just hard to stay disciplined, hard to decide this is mind over matter. I'm not going to fold just because I might be having a bad day or I have a bad moment. I'm going to start referencing bad days to bad moments, because we're not going to let a whole day pass where just bad stuff just keeps happening. That's too much. So we're just going to start referencing to bad moments, and we're going to be able to move past them. Now, we talked about the connection between the mind and the body and how they're like soulmates working in sync, and where that gets us to where we need to go. But if you haven't listened yet, pause this and go back, because that episode sets the tone for what we're about to spill tonight. So, y'all know what time it is. It's time for our little drinky drink. This is my favorite part of the show. So the drink of tonight is the pineapple peach cutie patootie. So there's a TikToker that I got the idea from. He makes a tea out of almost anything. He be having his French press in his little, I don't know what that tool thing is called, but it's like a bowl and a little stick, and you like muddle stuff with it. Maybe it's called a muddler. Don't quote me that. So here's what's in it. So we've got some pineapple juice, some peach juice, and I got a little splash of some ginger ale just for a little razzle dazzle. And then I got some peach rings, because y'all know I love candy in my drink. I love it to be cute. And I got a cute little curly little straw. The curl is what sold me on the straw. If you're not strong enough, don't go into Dollar Tree. So we're going to start with the Minute Maid Peach Punch. They're not sponsoring this, but you get it. So I'm just going to pour a little bit of that. I don't want this to overpower. This is kind of a strong juice, pungent juice. So I forgot a juice. The pineapple one. Whoops. Thank you. So we got Simply Pineapple. And y'all, don't ask me why I'm always mixing a juice. I don't know why I decided I wanted to be a juice barista, but it started when Circle K used to have 79-cent Polar Pops. And then here's our splash of our Canada Dry. This is the best ginger ale. Don't cheat yourself. There's not a better brand. Not Seagram's, not Schweppes, none of them. Nothing's better. Yes, you can quote me. So just a little bit of that for the razzle dazzle. And then I got some peach rings. I already put one around my little curly straw. And a stick of cinnamon. I don't know what the cinnamon does, but it looks cute to me. And just give it a little mix. Play with somebody else. That's a good drink. That is a good drink. Let me see. Yep. You can add agave if you feel like you need more sweetener, or you can add another juice, but I think it's perfect. If you guys made the drink, drop a comment in the chat. Let me know what you think about the drink. If you want to try the drink, try the drink. So I'm calling this portion, or this episode is called The W Man's Work. Y'all, so we talking about winning. Like, we're talking about winning mind, body, spirit. We're just talking about winning. It doesn't always have to be attached to money. Like, people gotta like change their perspective on a lot of things. Like, you just want to win at life. Like, you don't want to be one of the miserable people. You just walk around and people are always like, oh, you should smile. And you like, I don't want to smile. Why? Be a W man's. So, when I say I done the work, I have done the discipline, and now we're getting to the brighter side of the cleanse, the wins. So just going through all of the ugly turns this into a brighter day. Those walks, the meditation, the putting the phone down, the writing stuff down, the setting the intentions, properly planning for the next day or the next thing that I'm doing. Those created the wins for me. So I recently had a conversation with a friend that kind of flipped the script for me. She said something that I really needed to hear, but I wasn't necessarily ready to receive. She said it was time for me to forgive. And I was like, forgive who? For what? I feel like if I ever felt like I needed forgiveness, I've stepped away. But stepping away does not grant you the forgiveness, nor does it grant you the peace. Stepping away kind of blocks what that was, or what trauma that brought up for you, or what inconvenience and emotions that brought up for you. It doesn't help you settle them. I'm so quick to just be like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to deal with it. But I'm not. Later on down the line, it becomes a habit of behavior to put things off in those manners. So I've definitely heard before, like, you have to forgive to move forward. But again, you can choose what you want to do with that. Like, you don't have to, but taking the steps to forgive and forgiving yourself for even putting yourself through whatever it was will set the tone for a lot of your growth. It will stop a lot of your hindrance as well. So she really just helped me realize how much weight I was actually carrying. Like, I was hurt. There was people I resented for literally just them being who they are. I was resenting the fact that they showed me who they were, and now I was actually able to receive it. And emotions that I really didn't even feel like that made sense about those situations. So just literally hearing that and hearing her story painted the perspective that I needed to hear. So, like I said, I was walking around like fake smiling. I felt like I was putting on a poker face and it was no longer believable, like not even to me. I felt like I was falling into a depression. And that's when I felt, again, the purge was actually needed. I felt like it forced me to face the pain and acknowledge like I needed to do something about it. So forgiveness really became key, not just for the people that hurt me, but again, for myself, for allowing myself to go through situations or for staying in situations that just no longer served me. I had to set boundaries, and I had to forgive myself for letting myself down, essentially. Like, essentially, that was the biggest painter of the picture for me. Like, I really had to sit down and say, like, I was disappointed in myself. And it was in more than one way that I was disappointed in myself. So, again, all this work, and again, it's just not easy. It's not one thing. It takes more than one thing, and it takes really just disciplining yourself to actually get there. That realization that you need to get there is how it's going to start. So we're going to just pause for a second. We are going to go into fun because that was a little deep. It's too deep for me. But I love a game, so I have a game. And this one ties perfectly into to tonight's theme. It's called Heal, Keep, and Release. So here's how it works. I'm going to give you 3 scenarios, and you're going to decide which one you'd like to heal, which one you'd like to keep, and which one you'd like to release. So a toxic friendship. And people don't realize how toxic friendships can be because they feel like, oh, it corresponds with my life currently. But does it align with your goals? Do you see that person in your future? Like, do you see that person growing with you? Or is this person just somebody you can go out with, or you can blow money with, you can live your toxic life with? Is this person going to help you challenge your growth? That's a toxic friend. An old regret. Sometimes we hold on to things that were just regrets where we needed to forgive ourselves, or just really be transparent with ourselves that this was something either I needed to let go of because it was no longer serving me, but you don't have to stay there in your regret. You can choose to move on. So again, heal, release, or keep. So the toxic friendship was number 1, and old regret was number 2. And then the third one, I feel like is the biggest, a childhood dream you haven't pursued yet. So with that question, I just feel like you should think about another question. Like, if you were 8 years old, the person you felt like you'd be, are you completely satisfied with who you are today compared to who that little girl or little boy thought you were going to be? Are you happy with that? So for me, a toxic friendship, I'm going to always let that go. If I don't see you in my growth, if I don't see you in my future longer than just what's current, you've got to go. A regret, I am quick to tell anybody, like, you don't live there no more. You're not that same person. So you can't keep comparing, or you can't dwell in something that you're just no longer a part of. So the childhood dream I haven't pursued yet. Honestly, I'm doing it right now. I never thought that it would be a podcast, but I just always felt like I slept on my talents. And here I am now living that. So I feel like the child that I was at 8 years old would be very pleased with who I am today. So I'm going to share something a little personal. So after that conversation I had with that friend, I decided I was going to write a letter. But not to send, just like something for me. I actually burned it afterwards. I'm not going to go into what burning it is for on this episode, but we'll talk about it later. So I wrote down every hurt, every betrayal, and every moment that like still hurt me, something that I was still holding on to. And I also wrote down every time I let myself down. I cried. I was mad. It took me a long time to finish it. But when I was finished, I felt like it was a weight lifted off of me. When I watched it burn like into ash, that was me just like, it just is no longer there no more. So that letter was a release, a way to just let it go of everything that was no longer serving me. The ash to me represented that there was no way for me to get that back. Like, ash was the last piece of what that was, and it fell onto the floor. So I can't pick it back up after that. So if you've never tried this, I highly recommend it. I don't necessarily always recommend burning it, but however you dispose of it, if you want to bury it, that's always a good way to bury it, get rid of it. But sometimes that's exactly what you need, is to see what's in front of you, see the things that need to be let go. So the truth is, again, healing's not easy, but it's worth it. The steps, the mindset you get, the growth that comes of taking those steps to heal are worth it. It's about facing your fears, holding yourself accountable, and truly making space for the life you want to live and the life you feel you deserve. It's progression, though, over perfection, and it's not about having it all figured out. It's about just showing up for yourself every single day, not letting yourself down. And if you letting yourself down, don't regret that. just get back to where you're trying to go. Don't let it take you to where you've lost a day, now you've lost a week, now you've lost a month, now you've lost a year, now you're 10 years later and you never picked that back up, but that's truly what made you happy. You don't want to get to those points. You want to always stay channeled in and tuned into what makes you you and what makes you happy. Don't lose it for your job. I know that's easier said than done, especially in the economy that we're living in. Don't lose it for your job. Your job they don't care about you. They do not care about you. Like, they will replace you. So prioritize yourself. And if no one's ever told you, let me be the first to tell you, I'm proud of you. Even if you haven't taken these steps, even if you're not proud of yourself, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of the thought process that it even takes to sit through and watch something like this. This is hard. This is hard for me to even talk about. This is hard for me to not get emotional about because it's something I'm going through right now. So just be transparent, be real with yourself, and set your intentions, set your goals, and tell somebody else. Tell somebody that you feel is going to help you stay accountable. If that's what it's going to take, do that. Tell somebody else. Sometimes your kids, people underestimate how valuable your kids are to you. But like, imagine if you had like your kid, like, Mommy, let's go on a walk. You said you wanted to work out. You're going to go on that walk. I have a dog. Sometimes I get so annoyed with him like wanting to go outside, but it's like he's literally just doing what's in his genetic design. Like he wants to be free. He can't help it that I'm depressed, and nor should I make him feel depressed because I'm depressed. I'm going to go take my dog on the walk. I need it. Sometimes you need those small little innuendos that are going to get you out. Get a plant. A plant. Don't let it die. It's easier said than done. Get a bamboo. Those live through anything, but don't let it die. Start small. It'll help. So that's all I got though, y'all. Like, that was today's episode. I really appreciate you guys spending time with me, making these drinks with me, listening to my purge, like listening to how I'm growing, because episode after episode, I'm sure you guys can tell the mindset is changing. The growth is there and the steps are there. And if you guys need help, hit me up. I will help you. I will help you stay accountable. Help me stay accountable. But thank you guys always for tuning in. Again, my name is Meesh West Coast, and this has been another episode of Spill It With Meesh.